Okay, so today I've been thinking a lot about world conflicts of this era, this modern era and actual time we're living. The first thing that I was thinking about is because I'm living in Puerto Rico right now, so I hear a lot of, not a lot really. I hear some people like El Boricuazo talking about the situation, the political situation with the United States. And what I think about this political situation, and especially the attitude that Puerto Rico have to, Puerto Rico needs to get above that conflict. That Puerto Rico needs to change its mindset from the three political parties or three political mindsets of independence, uh, free state associated posture, and the state posture. You need to change from that and think and start thinking that as Puerto Rican, there's an opportunity and there's a chance that you are able to rule the United States. You know? So instead of thinking of Puerto Rico, the goal has to become bigger and think of ruling the United States, you know? And in that goal, there's a lot of advantage that Puerto Rico has gained through the years. So, you know, that's an opportunity that not other country in the world has. So, you know, those all political views are just gonna create, they're gonna create a stagnation. They won't live forward the situation in Puerto Rico. Now, that's the conflict. One of the conflict here in Puerto Rico. The other world conflict that is really one of the one of the most hard conflicts right now is the conflict between the United States and Spain. And it is it is really because of the land. Because the Spain was the discoverer of the New World. So they were the ones that discovered the Americas. Even the name was from them. So when the war with the Spanish country happened and the United States won, the Spanish people lose the war, but there was a very there was another card that they had under their sleeves, and it was the religious aspect, because the Spanish people and that the government of the Spanish was also a Catholic kingdom. So when the New World was discovered, it was not just discovered by the Spaniard people, but by the Catholic people. That's the real, thing. Now, all those lands of America were also belong to the Catholics. And what happened? The Spaniard lost the war, but the Catholic can't lose the war, can't lose any war because they don't go to war. They're a Christian religious organization. So when the United States won the war against the Spaniard, but they didn't won against the Catholics, you know. So basically, all the Americas is a Catholic land. Well, really, if that's another conflict, because if you're gonna fight over land and over whose land is, it really belongs to the Indian Native Americans. So that's those are the real property owner of the United States and all the Americas. So what happened? The United States didn't take out the Catholics because it's really impossible to take out the Catholics from the land. All the churches were constructed until today. All the United States, all America is filled with Catholic churches that are in their place as a strategic, posts of land ownership. So what happens? The United States. That's why the United States has adopted since the founding fathers some anti-Christian postures. And that's when you start to understand why there's this anti-Christian intellectual movement and overall movement, even on architectural posture and structure of the United States. What happens is it has been tried to remove Christianity from people's way of living, so Catholicism can be removed from the political aspect. So that's one of the real conflicts. And then you have the Protestant faith that in one time was proliferating as the main faith of the United States, but really on the bottom line is this political, land protection team. Because the if they're Protestant, well, they try to take away the Catholics. This is the thing, you cannot go against Christianity. You either have to use Christianity on your favor to gain your authority. So that's why the whole thing with Protestant and Catholics. So it's not really about faith, it's really about authority and land ownership. It's the whole problem. So that war conflict that still going on right now is between. It's about the land ownership of the United States. And if you go to Washington, you're gonna see that contrast of Catholics and the Protestants that mainly are Episcopal faith and other type of Protestant. So that's one of the main conflict of the world right now happening. And above that, you got all the other conflict in Middle Eastern and other countries. Now, this is the thing about World War II. World War II established a new way of war in the world, that it was the nuclear bomb. So when the United States dropped that nuclear bomb, he was saying, you know, he put a new game character on the chessboard, that was the nuclear bomb. Now, any country that wants to go to war with the United States or with other countries, it's gonna be a nuclear war. So it's not soldiers, it's not tanks, boats, it's nuclear war. So that really puts a hold over any type of world war between any nations, because you only have to tell you're gonna do that, the nuclear bomb is gonna drop. If you do that, the Russians, if you do that, the nuclear bomb is gonna drop. So now the wars are just about words and a bottom. So everything has stale and being on a point of diplomatic discussions, because really nobody wants nuclear holocaust. It's gonna destroy the whole world. No, if one country goes to war and drops a nuclear bomb, the other country is gonna drop the nuclear bomb, and it's gonna become something that every country will have to drop a nuclear bomb and then make sure that the nuclear bombs of the other countries are eliminated and their production factories are eliminated too. So it's gonna be if that happens, it has to be something of total annihilation. And that's why every country is using diplomatic ways, because everyone's gonna lose. So World War III, everyone's gonna lose. That happens, the world is gonna be completely destroyed. So those are basically the world conflicts that we're living right now. Gaza and Israel, I don't really know what's happening there. I don't really know. There's always this that land territory problem. But what I really feel about that is just a discussion about what I already talked about, the land ownership of the United States, Spain, and the Catholics. So these people, these bigger authorities of the world are the Catholics. The United States, that are really the British and the United States government. And obviously you have all these other bigger power nations like Russia, China, Korea, and all those people that are looking for their own benefit and getting one posture aligned to some people so they can benefit too. So they're using Israel and Palestine as their chessboard and theoretical problem, Like, look, Israel. Yes, I know that for a time Palestine was there, and they show maps of Palestine. Like, look, it was our territory before Israel. Then, when Israel was established as a new state by the United States and the United Nations, they took our land. That's what Palestine said. But on the other hand, the religious aspect that say, hey, Israel, this was Israel's land even before that modern history happened. And the Israel came to this place, and it went to war with those, I think it was Palestine and all those biblical person that used to live there, and Israel took over the land too. So these higher authorities are really presenting that problem in the world. I imagine the British saying, the British and the United States, they're really, the British are the world police. Imagine the British saying, well, but these people came and they won a war and they took the land. It's modern history, guys. It's their land right now. Now, am I in the Catholics and other people saying like, yeah, but there's a religious thing going on. There's a religious history, very important thing that is the real ruler of the world. And because of that it was never eliminated, it still belongs to Israel. You see how you use Israel and Palestine as your theoretical and characters for a bigger problem. And that's how these war conflicts are being, happening right now. There's this thing with, I always say this, there's this thing with Israel. Israel is always history trigger nation. I do believe is really, I do really see what the Bible really talks about, that people, that they were really chosen by God. I know that a lot of people will be like, but you know what happens when you see all the history of the world? Israel people are always like the ones who trigger something, or something happens with them, and then the whole world changes. So when I say they're chosen by God, I don't say that everything that they do is what God wants them, what God's want, the way God wanted it to be. But just that God chose them to be examples or for the world or something, I don't know. Like 1492, then America was going to be discovered, and all the Jewish people from Spain were evacuated. They were taken out of Spain. So that happened, and then the new world was discovered. Then you have in this modern history, then you have what happened with German and the Nazis and modernity. So I can see there's a lot of patterns where something happened to the Jewish people in Israel, and then something happened in the world. That's what I. That's what I really mean when they are really chosen by God to do some specific, specific manifestations. So, ending world conflicts. How does this all end? I know nobody's gonna like it, but yeah, the Catholics are gonna win. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry for everyone, but eventually the Catholics will win everything back. It's not gonna be Spanish, it's gonna be Catholic. And there's gonna be a lot of change with the Catholics too. It's gonna happen. The Catholics are going to open up to the Buddhist practices. You're gonna start meditating. You're gonna start doing meditation masses. We're gonna start revealing the real teachings of Jesus Christ that are meditation oriented. The Holy Father mantra, the chakras of the body that Jesus Christ talks about, the mudras that Jesus Christ talks about. All this meditation oriented practice that's the real teaching of Jesus Christ. Now, this is gonna open the Buddhist door to the Catholics, but it's not gonna be Buddhist because it's gonna be based on the Heavenly Father prayer. So, Christian meditation or Christian Buddhism is oriented towards to be one with the Holy Father. So, to be one with the Father, and it's based on the Heavenly Father prayer. So everything is governed by the Heavenly Father prayer. And then you use those Buddhist practices that are true, like the body, the meditation postures, mudra, the right foot path, the hindrance, all the true teachings of the Buddhists are true. Meditation in directions, the colors, the tonalities, frequency readings. Like for example, one frequency reading that will activate the mind frequencies is 7.7. That's a mantra. So if you say, I use this always with my daughter when she's a little bit sad or something, or in one day when I want her to be high, I say this to her. So sube, 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 su, 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 sube, 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 su. So that activates the mind, and your mind is on a higher level. Then on Sundays at 11 a.m. you use this mantra, 15.7. So do re mi fa sol la si, 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 do re mi fa sol la si. So that mantra, frequency mantra, I'm starting to see an old weight right now after doing that. So if you do that mantra watching a tree, there's gonna happen some things like you will stop blinking. You can stay without blinking like this for a lot of time, right? Now, now I have to blink. Now, if you use that mantra 15.7, that's a crown mantra. If you use that mantra on any other day that is not Sunday, it's gonna give you migraines. So it's very powerful. If you use it on a Tuesday or any other day that is not a Sunday, you're gonna have a migraine if you say it too much. So 7.7 works for every day, but there's one trick. If you use 7.7 one day, you will be on high mental faculties. But the other day, your high mental faculties are gonna be resting. So it works one day and the other day is resting. The more you start to meditate and getting higher, the lower the resting part is gonna be. So you can start to be living on higher awareness and consciousness. Now that's what's gonna happen with the Catholics. They're gonna start evolving and open up the true teachings of Jesus Christ to the world. Now when that happens, all the peoples in the American church, all the Protestants, all the Catholics, all the Christians are gonna have to decide, do they want to be real Christians, like meditations, Heavenly Father meditation Christians, or do they still want to be Christian Pharisees, like just go to church, sit down, and talk about the sins, talk about focusing on the death of Jesus Christ, watching the sins of other peoples, focusing on the bad of other peoples to maintain people some shame and remorse and feeling bad. All that Christian Pharisee custom. So all those people that are Christian, that are the main religion, one of the main religions in the United States and in the world, are going to have to decide if they really want to be meditation, Heavenly Father meditation Christians or Christian Pharisees. Now, this is the thing. The truth is gonna be revealed. So when the truth is revealed, it's gonna be revealed who are, el trigo y la cizaña, who are the wheat and the bad wheat. I don't know how you say it in English. And it's gonna be, people are gonna know it very clearly. Like, dude, you're talking about sin, you just want to make people feel bad, you're very focused on negative, you're a Christian Pharisee. Or this guy is meditating, you can see his hand postures, his desires, his attitudes, you can see his intentions. That's the right way of a Christian to be one with the Father. Now the Catholics are gonna start going towards that, because this is the thing with the Catholics. They cannot be against Christ because that's their main their main authority, that it was established directly from Christ. So if the Catholics are against Christ, they are not gonna sit anymore. So it's impossible. Now all the other Protestant Christians are going to change too when all of these truths are revealed, and they're going to decide to be Heavenly Father meditations or Christian Pharisees again. That's gonna create a major change in the world. Buddhists and Christians are gonna be friends, you know. Muslims, Christians, and Buddhists are gonna be friends because Muslims also have a lot of meditation practices. When the body of the Buddha Christ, the chakras and all what Christ was talking about, is revealed to the whole world, everything's gonna change. All the religions are gonna say, well, yeah, we're really talking about that. Well, that's what we're really talking, and the whole world is gonna change. The Catholics are going to become the maximum authority of that. Because why? Why do I say that? I know I have a lot of friends that really don't like the Catholics. But this is the thing. If you're a Christian, you really shouldn't go against the Catholics. You should, again, the same thing with the Puerto Rico and the United States conflict. You should use the advantage that the Catholics are ruling the world to the true teachings rule the world. Like if the Catholics are ruling the world, let's do things so the Catholics have to say, well, yeah, that's the real way of Christ, and you know what? There's no other way, so we have to change our things. We have to change. And yeah, they're gonna have to change a lot of ways. And you know what? They know it. The Catholics know these real teachings of Jesus Christ for a lot of time. And what I have experienced is they are revealing them right now. I think it's a thing of time that they have secretly guard them, and they are starting to reveal it right now. What happened with my experience in Puerto Rico and discovering the structure of how the architectural structure of how Puerto Rico is constructed is also part of that big revelation that is starting to being open to people. So it's gonna happen, man. And that's gonna change the United States. It's gonna become completely ruled by Catholics. I guess that the British, I know, are gonna become Catholics too. It's gonna happen something, because if what I talk about the nuclear bomb, that's not an option. World War III is not an option for them, for nobody. So the British are gonna say, hey, it's our land too. It's your land. You discovered it. You have been living here. We also won the war. Let's do this. The British are gonna become Catholics. They're gonna keep ruling the United States as Catholics. The Catholics, by that way, the Catholics will also be ruling the United States. So everyone wins on that side. And then the whole world becomes Catholic. but like this, Catholic Buddhist, Catholic Muslim, Catholic, I don't even know, Catholic everything, Catholic Protestant, Catholic Russians, Orthodox, Catholics, Adventist, Catholic, um, Jehovah Witnesses, everything's Catholic. And you say, what? How's that gonna happen? It is happening. It is happening right now. Latin is gonna be openly revealed. Now there are a lot of religions that are being allowed on our societies. They are also under the Catholic um, authority. So they're allowed to be there, but they do things allowed by the Catholics. That's how it is, man. No, that's what happened here in Puerto Rico with the Prosperity Church. Was Catholic. Protestant, they're Protestant, but they are allowed under the Catholics. That's how it is right now. So all those things are gonna be openly revealed. That's mainly how all these conflicts are resolved, and you don't know what other conflicts can rise from that, but that's mainly what I see right now. Well, thank you so much.